What I found really astonishing is the discrepancy between my memory and the archive and what he found in the archive. Now, I didn't spend time. I spent time looking through the archive, and it was only this collaboration that forced me to do it because I followed up what he was doing, how he was cataloging it, and sometimes there were questions and so forth. So I was sort of forced back into the subject matter. And then I made these discoveries.
Since the summer of 2023, Joachim Frank and Jonas Piduhn have been collaborating on the cataloging of Joachim Frank's academic archive. But how did this collaboration start, and what can students and scientists take away from it?
You have a technique that's doing this quantitatively. So we came up with
This interview and their joint article, Memory and Archive, Retrospective on a Career in Science, published in the Journal of Science, Humanities and Arts, answer these questions. In 2017, Joachim Frank was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry.
I'm Joachim Frank, a professor at Columbia University at the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biophysics. And I've been at Columbia for the past, since 2008. And before, I was for a very long time in Albany, New York. And that's where I did most of the work that gave me the award. So I'm doing cryo-electron microscopy, and I developed a method of molecular structure determination using electron microscopy and image processing. And that's my claim to fame. Yeah.
Jonas Piduhn came to Columbia University in 2022 for his second graduate degree program. He graduated in May 2024.
I'm Jonas Piduhn, and I'm a student here at Columbia studying international affairs, and previously studied economics in undergrad and grad degree. And what we are doing is an archival project together. So we're cataloging every single document there is in the Joachim's academic archive, dating back to the early 60s, some documents also the late 50s, to see basically how the approach that Joachim just described developed over time and how this scientific discovery was made.
The whole thing really started with this crazy idea of getting structures from single molecules that are not attached to each other, they're not in crystal form, so that there's no force that keeps them in somehow in lockstep. So on the face of it, it looks like very improbable that you can get structure out. And I just had this fixed idea that one could get many structures out, namely, molecules have all kinds of different conformations that all coexist in solution. And if one were able to just find the ones that belong to each other, then one can get multiple structures out of molecules in solution. And that turned out to be the case in the end.
The main intention of starting this collaboration is to provide students and scientists with access to Joachim Frank's revolutionary scientific discovery process.
It's an accessibility. It's simply there's so much material in it for someone who want to know the early history of electron microscopy, the molecular kind of electron microscopy, And the way this entire community developed is really reflected by the correspondence. I've been networked right from the beginning with conferences. I chaired conferences, so this is all immensely important for somebody who studies the history of science.
An extensive collection effort over decades is needed for an archive project like this to work.
Yeah, I'm sort of a pack rat, so I keep a lot of documents that other people might not keep, and so as a consequence, a lot has accumulated over time. Not necessarily very meaningful. I mean, there are receipts from taxi rides and things like this, so nobody would pay attention. But if one keeps it over a very long time, then all of a sudden, it is meaningful that one paid $3.40 for a taxi ride from down here up here, and things like this. It's like a document of the time.
Joachim Frank and Jonas Piduhn met in November 2022. This meeting turned out to be the starting point of an unexpected collaboration.
So basically, I had read Joachim's novel that's actually here, An See, before, An See. And so I knew of this novel and of Joachim, and then you received the Bundesverdienstkreuz, the Order of Merit of Germany. I saw that online, posted by the German consulate, and reached out. And then we first met, and then I was looking for a summer internship, and you had this proposal.
So he approached me, but we didn't talk about archives. He just wanted to work for me, but I was sort of baffled. Why would he work for me? And then I thought, well, I have the project for you, and this is simply because he's German, he is bilingual, German-English, and my archive is part German and part English. So I need someone, first of all, who is highly sophisticated in terms of intellectual endeavors, and as well as fluent in both languages and interested enough to get into it. And so that's how I found Jonas.
Well, it's really fascinating to see, as you already pointed out initially, like the variety of aspects we have in this archive. So of course it's letter exchanges on academic subjects, but then it's also about how to organize the switch to a new institution. How did that in the end work out? Or the sending of reprints. Oh yes,
visas. I mean, the dreadful process of visa applications.
Yes.
Yeah. And the misunderstandings, and then everything is sort of compounded by the slowness of communication.
All these documents had to be summarized and cataloged in a structured way.
You sort of really invented your own system, which was designed with the idea to make it highly searchable and very, very flexible.
I take every single document and look, what is the document about? Who is it written by? Who is it, for example, addressed to? When was it written? What's the content? And how many pages is it?
So here,
yes.
you quoted. Okay.
So what we've basically got is we've got 51 of those boxes. That's a box for 1980, and each of those boxes has those already pre-organized subfolders. So whether it's organized by a conference or a paper that you wrote or exchanges with one particular person.
For each document, Jonas Piduhn creates a brief abstract.
It's really just what are the main message of this document, so that in the end, when we have this file and it's in the library, so that it can be searched.
Well, the destination of this archive is supposed to be the Butler Library, the special collection in the Butler Library. And I had made contact with them already a few years ago about the principal idea of depositing all my archive. But they essentially they had no suggestion on how I could catalog it.
To conduct the cataloging, Joachim Frank then contacted the library department at New York University and explored a commercial solution.
However, they could not pinpoint someone with any science background. And I thought, you know, without any science background, and on top of it, nobody could speak German. It was not doable. So I got stuck until Jonas walked in the door. Yeah.
The joint work on this archiving project led Joachim Frank to rediscover critical moments in his career in science.
There was a critical moment because I had sort of the basic idea a long time ago, around 1975. But to make it really work, one had to develop a lot of software, and it was absolutely critical that one had to have a way of classifying images by the computer and not visually. And there was a breakthrough. There was a distinct breakthrough in 1980, 1981,
where I was able to do that, actually with the help of a Dutch student who was visiting at the time, Marian van Heel.
Before that, the method looked elegant, but nobody would have been interested because it was not. It was rather subjective, you know. So it was very important to have a computer procedure to do this kind of sorting of images. That was the absolute breakthrough. And at that time, I really thought, well, if this goes all the way, then, oh my God, it's going to be transformative. So I thought about this in 1981.
During this project, Jonas Piduhn was able to apply takeaways from his previous research and interest in innovation development.
What has been emphasized even more is also the importance of intergenerational exchanges. This entire project has really shown that collaboration with other researchers has been very important. So exchanging ideas, also when those ideas don't match up, or disagreeing on the ideas and the procedures and all the ups and downs of those projects. So that was essential to see. Then also how long it takes from this idea to be accepted in the field, from it being accepted by a small group to in the end transforming the entire field. So that it leads a lot of persistence and belief in this project and in this method to go all the way. And
it's really. I think this whole development is really. It's sort of the normal kind of paradigm shifting. You know, there's a established paradigm. There's dogmatic opinion. Things can only be done one way. And then there comes an outsider, and the outsider is first poo-pooed. I mean, so we've had this over the centuries. It went on and on, and this exactly followed these kinds of thing, because there were a number of years where I struggled and I didn't get any recognition for it, and I was on the verge of really leaving science. I thought this is terrible. I'll never get anywhere. And the most surprising thing was really my repeated attempts to get out of the science in which I was and try to go into environmental science. I was very early, I thought that was the most important thing that should be solved. And then, just through sheer persistence and through support of friends and also my wife, I sort of trudged on with this whole idea.
A question that Joachim Frank frequently encounters is what young students and researchers can learn from the previously described experiences.
In terms of persistence, with having a fixed idea doesn't solve the problem. One has to struggle. There are many unexpected junctures that I can point to where I was stuck, and all of a sudden there came some opening, which was completely unexpected. Mm-hmm. And looking through the archive, I really see these places, I see these points in correspondence with people,
Joachim Frank and Jonas Piduhn are continuing the work on this project.
From 65 to 85, more than 2,000 documents. And that doesn't bring us in the present yet.
We still have some way to go, but we'll get there.
That's what he says.
We'll get there.
Yeah.